everybody. Welcome back. Today's guest is Charles Utts. He's has a combined 19 years experience in dirt and asphalt oval racing. He was a multi-year track champion in modified stock at Mesa Marin Raceway before moving over to NASCAR Super Late models, winning several feature races during that time. Charles decided to jump in autocross with the most practical vehicle I can ever imagine, a 1977 Dodge Power Wagon. Cool thing is, it's powered by a 950 horse Hellcat. Charles, I know you're the show. I know you're a fan of the show. I'm excited to have you on.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. As I've said before,
Hmm.
I am honored. I think the world of your show, and every time I see your post that you got a new one up, that's it. I hit my car and off I go.
Yep.
And by the way, to be completely honest, okay, Finch told me it's an 803 horsepower at the rear tires. And one of my buddies said, well, the flywheel, that's probably 925, 950. That's all I had to hear, 950. That's it.
Yeah.
I'll sell it. I'm a salesman.
Right. That's like a fisherman holding their fish real far out, to make
That's
it look
right.
bigger, that's what we
right.
do,
That's
So
right.
I think I first saw your truck. It was probably when you did the Pro Tour and truck shootout. I think it was last year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't make this year's.
Yep. So it was probably on Instagram. I don't know if it was Finch had posted or some photographer or something. And, scrolling through the sea of C10s, which they're
Mhm.
cool. And then I see your truck, and, my first truck was a 76 Dodge D100. And if I were to ever build one, a Pro Touring truck,
Mhm.
it'd look exactly like yours. And it stopped me in my tracks. Immediately took a screenshot, texted it to all my buddies, and I've been drooling over it ever since.
Well, thank you. I hope we can meet in person and let you drool a little or take it for a spin yourself.
Yeah.
Actually, that you talk about your first truck. Well, that truck is my first truck. And, people talk about, yeah, yeah. And they kind of tell a little fib that, they had one like it. No, this is in 1977 in November. I bought that truck. It was a repo. And my
Mm.
dad had to co-sign it. I was 16 years old. And my dad had given me two cars, but he kept taking them away from me. I figured out I got to buy my own car if I'm going to get my own car. And it was a four-wheel drive. It was jacked up,
Mm.
and what ended up happening is I drove it for 6, 8 years and got another car, and it became my secondary car, and then got pushed aside, and then over time got abused by everybody in the neighborhood, and all the different stuff. And so I stuck it away forever and a day. And let's see, 18 years ago, 20 years ago, me and my wife I quit racing. I broke my back in a NASCAR in a race, got airborne, broke my back, and it kind of changed my oval track racing. And so, I kind of didn't know what to do. And my daughter was going into college and we're starting a business. So I said, I can't race no more. Let's go ahead and work on the Power Wagon. So I go ahead and get it all, fold the chassis apart, powder coat it, get the body painted. Now I'm ready for the motor. Sent the motor to my buddy. He's going to build it. Unfortunately, he ran into hard times. He had to shut his business down. Broke my heart because he had all my money, but but he is a friend, and I'll be honest with you, he made it right. So me and him are 100% good. At the time, it took the wind out of my sails, and so I pushed it in the corner of my garage, and it sat for 18 years.
Oh my gosh.
And I just I come out there and about 2, 3 years ago, my wife came to me and she goes, what are you going to do with this thing? And I says, well, I got two options. Okay, I can four-wheel drive. And my neighbor actually back up. My neighbor ruined it for me because he comes over and he says, well, after you get this thing all done, how are you going to fit it in your garage? It doesn't fit. And
Oh
I'm not one of
shoot.
these South guys with these big shops. I got a 3-car garage,
Mm.
and so couldn't get it in there. And I went, oh, no. He says, why don't you make it 2-wheel drive? And yeah, okay, maybe I don't know. Yeah, I'm too far along. Yeah, powder coated, everything's rebuilt, and my wife says, well, what do you think? And I says, well, I can either get an engine, a crate engine, and drop it in, or I can get a 2-wheel drive chassis and do that and use one of my Chevy. I'm sorry, Dodge man, one of my 3 Chevy 350s that I have from my old track days, and all levels. Try some clear to a regular whatever, and she says, what do you want to do? And I said, I want to do a chassis. And she says, well, who's can do it? And so, I'm a stalker. There's so many guys out that don't realize that if they breathe, I know that they breathe. Mr. Peachy that was on your show, a gentleman by the name of Chad Riker, another I've never even met him. Jason Wilcox,
Yep.
I've been, and Tyler Gibson, and and JB Granger, and Brian Finch. And what ended up happening is I've been following Brian, and Ray Everham had said something about Detroit Speed, how he just loved their stuff and how well they're doing. And when Ray Everham talks, you got to at least pay attention a little of that. And I started following Brian even closer, and I just I just said, okay, I'm going to call him. And so I called him and didn't answer, and I texted him because it said text, and so I texted him a couple times, and then we hooked up at some point. He says he gets a lot of looky loos, so he doesn't just chase phone calls all over the place. And I get it, man's trying to make a living. And he says, well, okay, XYZ dollars, send the truck. Hey, put up or shut up, baby. So my wife, God bless her, it basically is Brian Finch and my wife that put this thing together. All I did is get out of the way. And so I shipped the truck off. I even sent you a picture of the truck getting ready to go on the trailer, and off it did. And so he says he gets it and calls me back. Okay, I got I got XYZ projects in front of you, and every now and then he'd take a picture, a video of what's going on in the shop, and I'd see I'm moving up in the lineup and everything like that. And then all of a sudden I was up, and it started going forward. And he was very cool. And we never met in person. We talked on the phone once or twice. Everything was emails or text messages, and just I'm a busy guy, he's a busy guy, and I'm a believer in get the right people around you and get the heck out of their way. And I didn't nag him, I didn't I did no calls, no nothing, leave him alone. He's doing all the video updates on the internet, so I get to see him, and I'm like, oh yeah, share it with all my friends. You see it all on, if you look through my videos on my Instagram page, you see that's all his stuff he posted. I'm just copying it and drooling. And he called me, okay, we're to this point. You want to go any further? Okay, yeah. And I go, well, yeah, I want the brakes. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, fuel tank and everything like that. And when I had told him I was going to put a 350 in it, he's like, okay, yeah, okay. And can do that. And off he went. But you could tell he did, it didn't make him sing. And one day he called me. I think he called, maybe he texted me and said that, he texted me, this truck really deserves this motor. And it was a Hellcat motor on Craigslist. Come to find out, it's got all the bells and whistles. And I'm just knowledgeable enough to mess things up, red eye this, unblock, unchain, what is it called? What is it called? Where they, whatever. And it's something on on the motor, I don't know, whatever. Anyway,
no worries.
That's how knowledgeable I am, baby. Anyway,
it's a Hellcat.
Yeah, it's a Hellcat. Hell yes. Anyway, and he says this truck really did it. It's $10,000. I'm sitting there going, that's a lot less than any of the crate motors I was going to get. And so I go to my wife, who's my money person, and we have this rule, and I'm the gas, she's the brakes. She protects me from myself. And so I'm like, okay, honey, what do you think? And she comes back and she says, only if he makes it run. I go, what?
Why wouldn't he?
Did she just say have him finish it? Because that's what I heard.
That's right.
And sure enough, and I went, okay, well, you got to realize, the one trouble about that is that the same guy that's engineering the suspension, everything's the guy putting the water in the radiator and the oil in there and attaching the seatbelts, things that I would do. And she's like, let's just get it done. We got the money, let's get it done. And so I kind of let Brian know. And so he went in steps and kept sending me stuff. And one day he says, okay, I want to unveil it. And we went to Mopar Heaven, and off we went and unveiled it. And I was going to drive it home, but my problem is, every guy who's got a custom car is probably knows somebody that had the problem where 18 years ago, the paint shop that painted my truck took the VIN number off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I saw it and I went, you're not supposed to do
that.
No. And so, okay. So I didn't put it back on. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And so we try and talk to some police officers in Tennessee to see if some of the guy signs everything off, and okay, yeah, that's fine. Well, when California doesn't play,
Uh,
I'm in a 6-month line. As a matter of fact, they still haven't called me back. Anyway,
Jeez.
Arizona, because my folks live in Arizona and we both have the same name, and my dad's name is on the paperwork. So find out that Arizona will do it. And so they put the VIN number on it, and that's all fine. But so I gave it back to Brian at Texas. We went back to his place. He did a couple of changes, and then we went to the Grand Pro Touring Truck Shootout.
Hmm.
Never autocrossed in my life before, and you know, all these guys that are out there tearing it up, and I am a fan of all of yours.
Hmm.
I literally the first 2 laps, like everybody else's first 2 laps, I'm out in the middle of nowhere. You know, I'm knocking cones down everywhere. I don't even know what they mean. I'm just a little plowing, a little gardening out there.
Yeah.
And I come to a stop one time, and I look over, and there's Finch looking at me like, what do you do? Like, you know, this guy's got a racing background, and he can't seem to find the little course here. And so I did a couple more times, and then, and the greatest thing, Finch, and I'll expand later, but the greatest thing he did is he jumped to the track. Okay, hey, what's it doing? And I go, I don't know, man. I don't know. Everything it's doing wrong, I did. So
Yeah.
you know, I can't really blame it on the car and so a truck. And so he gets in it and whips out a lap. I'm like, whoa, okay, I'm driving in way too slow in this corner and this, that, I'm kind of picking up what he's doing. And he gets out, gets underneath there, click here, click there, click, gets back in, 2 seconds faster lap. He's now picked up 6 or 8 seconds a lap faster than my fastest time of the day.
Wow.
And I'm, wow. And what I was about to say is that the greatest thing Brian Finch has done for me is save me from myself. I don't sit here and look for the latest, carbon fiber, the latest aluminum, the latest, hey, there's this new, man, just work on the car. You can do little adjustments, but work on the driving track time. This year started. Last year I did a couple, but I want to get my interior done, and so I got delayed. The gentleman's wife got sick, so I got to get delayed a little. It's all done now. Beautiful. I love it. But and I'm now 6 autocrosses in.
Oh, good.
And I got a couple more, but then my daughter's getting married here in a month or two, so you have to stop at the end of September and pick up next year. But next year, I'm doing all the bird races. I'm doing. I want to try a track day. What do you think? Track day for a pickup truck? Somebody getting intimidated with a Hellcat running them down on one of them long straightaways?
I mean, as long as you got safety equipment.
I got safety equipment and a bumper. That's all you need, right? I'm an oval track guy. You hit them going in and coming out, you just ride them out.
Just keep it off the walls. You can go through the grass. It's a truck. You can go through the grass.
The trouble is all those habits I have, in the oval track days, I'm trying to say is that everything that I used to do in oval track may work in autocross, but I don't know that it will work, and I'll end up spending my time and energy doing all this different stuff, and I'm just I'm trying to get track time right now.
Well, I think you obviously got the right tool for it, and seat time is, that's going to be the key. Did he paint it, or is that paint still?
Actually, that's the funny part. That's the only thing I had anything of that. That is L8643, by the way, if you want to know. And I had somebody ask me off of one of the pages the other day, but that was the color on all my race cars. It was close to the original colors, 79 Mitsubishi red. And so, of course, when I'm going to paint my truck 20 years ago, I slapped that paint job on it, and it sits for 20 years. And matter of fact, just recently, you might have saw on my Instagram, I took it to a gentleman to have it ceramic coated, and he buffed it all out and everything, and it looks amazing.
That's crazy that paint held up that long.
Yeah, and that's, I told him it's cured.
It definitely cured, definitely. But I mean, I guess if it was inside in a corner somewhere, the dust probably protected it.
It was indoors. It was in the garage, so I didn't have anything covering it up. But I'm also Southern California. We don't have all that crazy cold or that humidity and all the bugs. Like you got bugs, huh?
We got them all.
I think it was a high of 73 here today with a cool ocean breeze. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Really? It was 106 heat index today,
Oh, wow.
and with humidity.
Nice.
But
Nice.
that's cool. That's an old paint job because then now you don't have to worry about it being a new paint job and chipping
Yeah.
it.
Well, yeah, the
He's
trouble
gonna,
is that it was a new paint job. So when Finch gets it, he's like, great, I got a completely finished truck that I gotta, dig in around and everything. And he'd send pictures and you'd see the blue tape all over the place. And he
Hmm.
said it was stressful. And there's a couple little scratches here and there that were touched up. But I knew there's no way in the world you can work and build a car and, you know, assemble and not.
Hmm.
I couldn't keep it in my garage without putting a dent on it.
Yeah, it's gonna get chipped up if you autocross, especially with sticky tires. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
inner wheel wells of mine are like sandblasted just from
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and even the bumper, like the back of the bumper overhangs past
Mm-hmm.
the quarters, the little edge of the bumpers, it's like all because my bumpers are painted, it's all chipped off. But hindsight, probably should have put some of that paint protective film on it, but
Mm-hmm.
whatever,
I
so
don't know
be
if you
it.
saw on my Instagram,
Hmm.
at the C10 Nationals this year, one of my buddies, Brian Scheibe, told me, "Well, on that last corner, if you kind of pull it in a little bit, I think you're giving up time over there." Well, that's the one area where I hit the Hellcat and just stomp on it, give it flat, and come off the corner, and it needs that little bend. Well, I found out why it needs that little bend because I pulled it tight and hit that throttle, and that thing went. And into gravel I go and everything. And
uh,
we were doing the share the ride, the BF Goodrich share
yeah.
the ride.
Yeah.
And the guy in the seat next to me is like, whoa. I go, how you doing?
And yeah,
Back
that'll
to
wake
my
him
dirt
up.
track days.
Yeah. So was he? Did he ever do a Dodge chassis prior to you?
No, and matter of fact, from what I understand, the frames itself are pretty much the same. A little bit of mounting point, different things and
Mm.
stuff like that. I heard him talking to somebody about it, and he was giving measurements and stuff like that, and he uses the same ones. He currently has
He's got a yeah.
JB Granger is doing a Ram. Wait, is it a Ram Charger?
I think it's a Ram Char Trail Duster.
Trail Duster,
Yeah.
and it's gonna and with the Hellcat, so it's gonna be a Hell Duster.
Uh, yeah. I saw
and,
that one on his page too, and I was like, man, these guys, they're killing it.
yeah, and then also there's another gentleman, Mark Eccles, who Mark's a fan of my truck. So he goes to Finch and goes, and while my truck is still at Finch's place, and goes, I want that truck. And so Mark's kind of telling me about this stuff. Well, when I show up at Texas, I got the interior. I go, hey, Mark, what do you think about this? He goes, Brian, I want this interior too. Brian's sitting there going, please, you're killing me.
Well, there's nobody really has a choice, an option out there for a chassis for the Dodge trucks, and I often wondered if, and I'm sure Google would give me that answer, is the wheelbase the same on the C10 to a Dodge? Because if it is, then like you said, it's just really mounts.
I want to,
You know,
I've people have asked, and I want to say 113, but I'm not sure.
I don't even know. I've
Yeah.
never looked into it. It's probably best I don't, because then it'll make me want to.
Well,
Then I'll be shopping C10 chassis.
and then there's a couple of them out there where they've shortened them up. I know there was one at that where the guy had taken a Blazer and it looks like it's a 106-inch wheelbase.
Mm.
I don't know the gentleman's name. It's a red one. It's out of the level 7 guys.
Oh yeah,
It looked good.
they make some nice stuff too.
Yeah, I was impressed. I'm like, I went over to him. I don't care who the builder is. I'm a fan of everybody. If
right.
you have a badass car, I'm a fan.
That's right. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
What transmission's in the truck?
It's got a 256 Bowler,
256. Okay.
6-speed. I'll tell you what. The nice thing is when I went to the C10 Nationals last year, I flew into Nashville, got up with all the guys. We drove over to Arnie's place to pick him up, and a bunch of guys ran out of gas. And then we get going and we go down, and then we stopped in Arkansas and then drove on into Dallas Fort Worth. We were dodging storms and stuff like that, and did the whole weekend. And then I got in the truck and drove it home. I got up that morning. I drove from Dallas Fort Worth and I was going to stop in Albuquerque, but I got up so early that it was 12 noon, and I called my wife. I go, oh, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to sit in a room, 12:30 in the afternoon. Oh, I got to go to sleep because I have to go to sleep.
Right.
So, I just said, I'll keep driving. And I was able to get to my folks' house in Laughlin, Bullhead, Arizona. It's right there, Laughlin, Colorado River. I don't know. A lot of you East Coast guys aren't familiar with that little one. Lake Havasu. It goes Laughlin, then down the River Needles, and then Lake Havasu. So it's all that same area there. But anyway, my parents lived there, so I was like, I got to get to my parents' house, and I spent a couple of days there, and then I drove on home the next day. So, but
Man, talk about breaking it in, huh?
yeah, and the adventure, and the nice thing is, you think about it. I got a car that was completely built. We drove it to Bowling Green and back. And Brian says, I want to do a nut and bolt check just to be sure. And I as a racer, I'm sitting there going, I like hearing things like that, because that's, and my race car, okay, that's always on the list. Nut and bolt check, I don't care, just to check everything over. And I got in it and drove it and didn't have a single problem the entire time. My first autocross, I did have a problem. That was a radiator hose had rubbed up against a little screw in my firewall. They've got those rubber things that go to pass through for your electrical. The screw was just rubbing on the hose of the radiator heater hose and started spitting a little bit of radiator. I called Brian. He goes, okay, do this, pull the supercharger back, and there's your hose. And it was simple, easy, and it made me feel like a mechanic. I was doing things.
What ECUs do you have on there? Is it a Holly?
Stock.
Oh, it's factory computer.
Yeah, we got the whole unit and everything, and just used the stock one and everything like that. I know there's some guys out there that run the Holly, and then what's it? The Hellcat is the other one.
There's plenty.
Quite honestly, back to my same thing. I don't know that I need anything else. Maybe some traction control or something like that. But
yeah, honestly, I think if you don't plan to add stuff like traction control or modify the engine a lot, why not leave the factory computer? I mean, it makes sense. It works good. I mean,
yeah, I'm back to that same comment I made earlier. I need track time, and I start making a bunch of changes all over the place. I could create more of a problem for myself than anything else. So I'm gonna drive the heck out of it, have a good time, and enjoy life.
Does it have air conditioning?
Of course it does,
Of
but
course.
actually, I'm. See, this is the problem. See, back where you guys, it's hot. Here, it's a beautiful. That truck didn't come with air conditioning.
Okay.
So we don't. We have windows, and it's a cool ocean breeze, and my arm out the window. And so when Brian, one of the questions, okay, you want vintage air? And I go, no. He goes, you're the first person ever to tell me no to vintage air. I'm like, I don't need it. So when we get there, and we're going to go to a Pro Touring Truck Shootout that first time. It's raining. We get on the road, and everybody in the brother. It's JB, it's Danny Cartwright, a couple of other guys, Chris Coleman, and Ryan Scheibe. Anyway, and we're in a lineup going down the road, and all of a sudden they're gone, and it's so you guys get rain. I slowed down, like I'm not used to this stuff. I started fogging up. I had no defroster, no nothing. I'd taken all that stuff out, and so right then I went, oh, I need to get that. So I talked to Brian, and his daughter was getting married in a week, and I was like, well, if you can get it done, I'll come out and go to the C10 Nationals. If you can't, take your time. When it's done, I'll come fly out and drive it home and go from there. And he ended up getting it done, and I love it. I mean, it handles it, it's everything I want. The testament is, and I know this, we can't do all the things on our vehicles that we want to do. Sometimes we have to go out and have somebody do something for you. That gentleman put the stereo in, the gentleman that put my interior in, same thing. Both of them said the same thing. Whoever built this truck did it right. All the clips are the right way, so that you can't get them mixed up or anything like that. Everything just very thought out. And I was like, that's the nice thing is I have a vehicle that I can, do anything, and I'm not embarrassed about it. I've got it boogered up over here.
Do you drive it much? Just regular driving?
Yes. Last year I did a lot because I was waiting for the interior, and I got it back from the C10 Nationals. I was going to do some changes, and got about a week into it, and I go, what are you doing? Let's race the season. So I went ahead and put it back together and pulled out. I was going to do some exhaust. I was going to do some different things. Ultimately I had the exhaust tips go out the side, because when you show up at an event with some buddies and stuff like that, and your exhaust points to the ground, you'll blow dirt all over their car. They really love that.
No, not really.
And me, I've got it. When you got a Hellcat, you got to throw a rev. You got to show some love to everybody. So anyway, so I had them go out the side, and I really dig how they turned out. But so yeah, I do. Me and my wife will do little cruises. We'll take it to breakfast. The funny thing is here, I'm 64 years old. My wife's 60, and here we pull up at breakfast. This a very aggressive
Right.
truck, and the license plate says Hellcat. Oh, so Hellcat. Of course it does. And and then of course with my Hellcat t-shirt, they're like, this little old man. I mean, I remember when I was a kid and you see an old guy in a cool car, you're like, what a waste. No.
Nope. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'd imagine, I mean, you live in California, there's probably a lot of old cars on the road, huh?
Yeah, yes and no. There's been such an exodus in California, and a lot of them are guys that are car guys and stuff like that. So you've seen a lot of those go away. It's not as many as it used to be, but we still, like my little town. I live in Camarillo, which is in between LA and Santa Barbara on the coast. And we have end of the month we have a downtown car show, and all the guys bring their cars out, hot rods and the whole bit, and they'll fill up the street both sides in a big parking lot and stuff like that. So they're still out there, but unfortunately, that's the real deal going on right now, and especially since everything they're trying to do here is limit your smog this or whatever, and Jay Leno's been fighting to get a law passed on for the old vintage cars, and I think they got it down to like the 80s and before, but it doesn't move up. It's if you have an 89, forget it. It's going to be in the smog. I mean, that was my problem, is because if you have a Hellcat motor in your 77 Dodge, you have to go by that Hellcat motor's year. So 2018 smog rules is what I would have had to go by.
Okay. Well, I mean,
in California, not in Arizona, baby.
Well, did it have cats on it? Catalytic converters?
Yes, sir, it does.
Okay. Wink, wink.
I am not going to implicate myself.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we don't have to worry about any of that smog business here. So
there's got to be something in the middle, but it's all right. I enjoy the heck out of it. And one thing about this thing is from all my years of oval track racing, in 2001, I was involved in a bad accident, got airborne, broke my back, and was flat on my back for 8 weeks. And then it took me about a year to get my car back together and get back out there. First race out, got another hard hit, driver's side into the wall. And so it really it shut me down. I ended up going from I was lapped once in 19 years to that last year I was lapped 10 times in 9 races. No, 9 times in 10 races. And I just that thought in my head that I could handle anything that came at me was gone. And so I hung it up, but I still had the itch. I wanted to drive. But and no disrespect meant to those guys in the past, but I hate tech men. I hate flying up.
Yeah.
I hate 16-year-olds with dads with big checkbooks. and so, I don't know what to do. I gotta let this thing. I'll turn it down. I'm gonna pick up the phone and hang up the phone. There you go. Sorry, it's after hours. Where was I at? But broke my back, and I really missed the competition, but I really missed the camaraderie. That's what I love about autocross, and yes, there's a little bit of competition, but it's tough for me to get too wound up about the competition when I'm 4 seconds behind the guys that are winning.
Yeah, right.
And of course, the nice thing is the region I'm in, I have Jason Wilcox that shows up at every event I'm at. I can't even get a break here.
Yeah, good luck with that one.
I mean, hey, I could fall back on my oval track days, put a fender in him, but then I get beat up. Yeah. But no, we got some fast guys out here, and so which is fine. I don't care. I'm having so much fun. Every event we go to, we meet another group of cool people, and coming over and admiring the truck, and I'm admiring theirs. And, I love it. I got so much respect. Like we were saying before, I don't care if you're racing a little mini stock in the dirt or you're running a full formula, whatever at some bitchin' track. We're all driving a car at the end of its capability. And it's the guy that does it better than everybody else that's the winner. But we're all doing it, and we're all enjoying it and loving it. And, I didn't, for 19 years, I was so competitive that the joy of it disappeared. I mean, it was as much a stress as my job was.
Mhm.
And, midnight working on something because I got to do caster camber toe bump, get that out of the way. Got to get this, that, and the other. And, it just now, I tinker. I get out my garage and I, get my little iced tea going, and I'm out there. Okay, today we're gonna clean around the back of the gas tank area.
Right.
It's all, maybe it's I tell everybody it's gentleman racing, and it's funny is this last weekend we were at Anaheim Stadium, and it's the first time I've been on a faster track. Corner Exit puts it on,
Mm.
and they don't this weekend they didn't normally have a practice day the day before, so you get 4 runs and then four competition runs. And man, those first 4 runs took everything I had just to understand the track. And there I am out there, and and I think the faster track made it to where all my problems showed up quicker. And where I at one point I almost cleaned out a set of cones where sideways slide through it. But and on that I told you about, Fuelish has a picture of my truck on the course. Well, my buddy Tony G's in the passenger seat. You see him like hanging way over. And I tell everybody, you don't know what, this autocross. Yeah, you're driving around cones. Oh, I got a scratch. My buddies give me a bad time about it. And I go, get in the car. And when I'm done, you tell me if I'm leaving something on the table or whatever. And they're like, mad respect. And,
Yeah. It seems like that attitude over autocross. I mean, you'll still get the guys that are diehard road racers. They'll make fun of the autocross, but
yeah,
I mean, they got some serious cars on the autocross now. And
yeah. And some
I
serious
think if any of those guys that were talking stuff about autocross got in one of those cars, they'd probably be shocked at what they can do.
And then all of a sudden show up in an event where you've got Finch, you got Jason, maybe you got a couple of the other guys. Out here we have another guy, George Reese. Those dudes are quick.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are quick, and all of a sudden, they're you're a badass, and you're 4 seconds behind them.
Right? Yeah, yeah. You want to be humbled. Go to a race where the big dogs are.
Well, I did medal 2 times ago at the Corner Exit at Big Bear. Jason, of course, won it, and my wife, I have a Ford Lightning, and so my wife, that was the car I was working on before I started my Power Wagon. My wife liked it so much, she rode with Finch. She goes, I want to do that. And so I took the Lightning, put it together, and that was her first time out. She raced all day Saturday and then raced Sunday. Well, there's only 3 people in a KMT, so Jason won, I was second, my wife was third. Hello.
There you go. Hey,
respect.
Nobody needs to know that.
Everybody's asking, how'd you do? I go, I got second. Kristen got third. Well, how many people are there? 3.
So when she's sending the Lightning over to Brian?
Yeah. Well, and I made some comment to one of the guys. I said, well, I need to go buy me something. And they're all getting all, carrying on about it. And I go, we're my wife, unlike me, she doesn't have that crazy competitive bone. She wants to go out there and have fun and drive it around. And she's raced a couple times in the dirt and asphalt. In the asphalt, I'd given her such a bad time at her performance in the dirt that she was leading on the front row and drove it down in the corner and drove it in way too deep and took a Dodge Charger. I think it was a 70, maybe 75, maybe one of the big boat ones, and stuck her straight in the wall, just flat. It was, and by the way, it was my buddy's car. It wasn't our car.
No, geez.
I'm like, oh, she come out of there. My husband's going to kill me. So she's at the point where she just wants to have a good time. But the fun part of this whole deal is that on the drive home from the Big Bear event, we're talking about something. I'm going, that sweeper, when I got in here and I kept, and she goes, yeah, and that other cone. And I'm sitting there going, babe, we got something in common now. We're not talking about pork chops anymore.
That's awesome.
It's really fun. And I was telling her about a change I want to make on the truck. And she brought up something else that somebody else had said. And I was like, there you go. And she's selling for me here. You need to get that, right, honey?
Yeah, we got my local SCCA. They have a couple, husband and wife. They both they share a Miata, and she's beating him now. So you better watch yourself.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people tell me that, and hey, I quite honestly, that would nothing would make me happier, because I want her to enjoy it too. For 19 years, she was the person that showed up. Matter of fact, one year she won the mechanics, Pacific Coast Region Mechanic of the Year for NASCAR. She used to do my tires, air pressures and stuff like that, and stagger and stuff like that, set them up for me. And so she was real good at it. And so she's always been a little bit of a car person, but I wouldn't let her work on it any further than that. I'm like, I'm not married to a grease monkey.
Right,
okay?
right.
You can do that other stuff. That's fine. You're not gonna be lifting stuff, getting dirty. That's not what I'm about.
Right. Let's talk about the dirt track stuff. What the car you ran, was that like a production car, or was that one of those
Production
custom
car.
built
I
deal?
ran a 74 Camaro. It was street modified stock type thing, so you take a street car and you put some racing springs on it and shocks and stuff like that. We have limitations on the motor, 11-to-1 compression, got to run a 2-barrel, no restrictor plate, nothing like that. And then my later stuff, so you're running about 400 horsepower, maybe, if you're lucky. And you gotta I know that was a long time ago, so I don't remember exact tire width. I think it was it wasn't a 10-inch, maybe it was an 8-inch tire, whatever. Yeah, I did that for 5 years, loved it. And matter of fact, I drove it like a sprint car, and so never lifted off the gas. I put my foot down. My buddy Dave Reeves, he was the flagman there. He come up to me one time, he goes, you're not lifting, are you? I go, nope. I put my foot down and I stay until the end of the main event, and I just and drive like that. I'll send you a picture of that. But
it's cool. What made you switch over to the asphalt racing?
The biggest problem I had in all my racing was when you're slow, everybody likes you. When you get faster and faster, you all of a sudden have people that don't really enjoy your success. And so I doubled second place in points that year. And so
wow.
we're down. LA Times got a big article about they were tearing me down, and they thought they had me. It was a double points night, so we were running Friday night and then Saturday night again. So they tore me down Friday night, thinking I wouldn't be back on Saturday. I got it back together. We won Friday night, and I think I finished second on Saturday night, but doubled the points than the other guys. And so it became not fun. And then I had the same problem at Mason Run Raceway. I won every main event but one year. My other car won that other one. So needless to say, in the next division up was a guy by the name of Kevin Harvick. You might have heard of him.
Yeah, I've heard of him. Wow.
He won like 6 in a row. I won 7 in a row, and my dad won 8 in a row. So we pretty much stunk it up that year. It was not a fun year to be a fan if you didn't like those 3 cars.
So how much adjustment in driving style going from dirt to asphalt?
Everything.
You had to use the brakes.
As much as it is from oval track to autocross.
Okay. Yeah.
The car's much more stable, but what I like about dirt is that if your car's not just right, you find a place on the track and you can go up high, down low, and you're working the guy in front of you. So if the guy in front of you gets offline, you can get by him. Whereas asphalt, if your car has got if you've got a problem with your chassis, hey, welcome to 9th place. There's nothing you can do. But my problem there, like I was talking earlier, the problem that I have with autocross to oval track is I have all the tools. I have all the parts. So I could change mine over to a bunch of different stuff. I'm like, don't do it. Don't just keep doing what you're doing, Charles. Yeah. I don't want to get crazy like I did before, where I'm changing everything all over the place. I got to get fast. Then I might adjust this or try something, cut some things off. I have the torches. I have the MIG welders. I have everything I need to get myself in trouble.
In the NASCAR stuff, was that like Like just a lower horsepower version of the regular
Yeah,
NASCARs?
they all, even today, they all have limitations to keep you, from outspinning, even though, a super late model motor back when I was running was $25,000.
Oh,
So,
wow.
there's no way, we'd run a spec aluminum head. Okay, there's $2,500, and solid lifters, roller rockers, 11-to-1 compression, a 4412 carburetor, which is a 2-barrel Holly. Yeah, but I'm paying $1,500 for it. So, everything's, I bought this one carburetor where the guy had done like a Venturi in it. So when you put the gauge in it, it cleared, it was legal. But if you looked at it just the right angle, you could see all that extra airflow. There's, okay, I'm busted. You got me.
Yeah.
we all do everything we can to find an advantage. But yeah, so we did that, and a racing clutch and everything. I 2-speed Jericho. But the funny thing is that car, my super late model, isn't anywhere close to what my truck is. My truck's 950 horsepower, 6-speed transmission, got the floater, got the true track in the back, got the 14-inch wheels, 6-piston brakes. I had 6-piston in the other ones. I'm running the BF Goodrich Rivals 335s on all 4 corners. So here I'm looking at 13.5 inches of tire all the way around. I'm like, this is a race car.
Oh, yeah.
Don't disregard this thing. This is a race car. And I get out there and jump on it, and all of a sudden everybody's like, whoa, when you open it up, that thing sounds pretty.
Yeah. I assume some of those places you're going to doesn't have noise restrictions.
Well, actually, it's funny is 3 weeks ago, I was supposed to go to the Storm Stadium, which is out in Lake Elsinore, and it's right next to houses, and they have a 93 dB rule. And I was just in the process of putting the exhaust through the sides. I'm like, I'm already loud, and I'm gonna stick the exhaust out the side. I'm like, I canceled and said I didn't realize the noise things, and moved it to where I'm going to a Long Beach here in a couple of weeks. So yeah, so most of the stuff they don't, but I have exhaust in a whole bit, so I'm not crazy out of control, but it sounds good. You got to go on my Facebook thing and see. It says Final Destination, or not Facebook, Instagram. It says Final Destination. It's a photographer there, and he was getting in, and you'll hear my truck, gas up, and let it eat.
Yeah, they're loud. At Mo Party one year, Holly had a dragster with a Hellcat in it with the like the upswept headers that dragsters use. And Bowling Green, they have those all the seating is covered, and everything just echoes.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I didn't have any ear protection in, and that dragster, I mean, I don't know why it was so stinking loud. Probably just because of the giant blower on top of it. But I mean,
respect.
Yeah, but yeah, I was like, golly. But I mean, yeah, the Hellcats, if you take those catalytic converters off, they kind of loud. Huh?
Yeah, I bet they would be, huh?
They could be. Who knows?
They would be.
Oh, shoot.
Hey, the biggest problem I have on my truck, I'll be honest with you, the biggest problem I got is all my friends, I'm 64 years old, they're like betting on when I'm going to die. Like my buddy Phil and my buddy Kyle Christensen are both like, oh no, when you go, that truck's mine. Even the will. I'm like, nope.
You got to pass that one down.
Yeah.
Awesome. So with any races planned for the rest of the year?
Yes, actually this weekend I'm going to the Iowa NASCAR race. I come back the following weekend. We're back out at Anaheim for on a Saturday the 9th for the autocross there again, and then the following weekend or 2 weekends after, we're at Long Beach at San Pedro, right on the docks, right there next to the ocean. I mean,
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, not far off. I haven't been there, but I've seen pictures. I want to say 50 yards from the ocean, but I'm not really sure. And then I think there's 1 or 2 more. There's a couple Storm Stadium, which I can't go to, but then the last one for me will be September 29th. I was going to do the Racing Birds in Vegas, but my daughter's getting married in October 18th. And so we're calling it a year at the 29th. And instead of going to the Racing Birds, I'm going to go to the corner exit up at Big Bear again and do that weekend. Yeah. That way my wife can race it and we can have a good time and then put everything away, get the wedding out of the way and all that stuff.
I'm jealous of all the events y'all have.
Well, the corner exit's nice because they're local. They did about every 2 weeks. Jason Wilcox told me about the Porsche Club that you can sign up for them and go to the Porsche events, and a lot of those are the day before some of our events. So I'm going to look into that, and I do want to try a track day. We have Willow Springs and we have Button Willow, and I heard about that they have track days where you can get out there and run on them. So
Right.
I saw a video on a guy today, and I'm like, well, I got to do that.
No, I've seen videos of Willow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did y'all have any SCCA groups close to you?
They got Southern California. I haven't,
Yeah.
uh, and I got to give them a chance. I've never been to any, but everybody tells me you got to work the event and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I kind of like this no work events where I just show up and do my truck thing and let somebody else work. Charge me more.
I've learned since I started doing this podcast that like Southwest, like Southern California, Arizona, and then like up Northeast, y'all all have all these like privately held autocross events that's not associated with SCCA. All I have around here is SCCA, unless somebody else knows of one that I'm missing.
The corner exit isn't, and either is the Racing Birds. Now, I think a lot of these guys go by the rules of the SCCA, but I actually,
it's easier, right? I mean,
I pulled out. I saw the guys at C10 Nationals pull out a scooter and go around and do the course, checking it all out. Like, that is smart. Got me one. And the last time I was at Big Bear, I did it, and Jason told me that I was cheating. And I go, what? And he goes, you're not allowed to do it. You got to walk it once, and that's it. And I'm like,
what?
What are you talking about? So then this last weekend, I didn't bring it. I thought, okay, I'm gonna be good. I'm not gonna cheat. There was probably about 9 guys out there with scooters going around the track. I put the scooter in the back of my truck. I'm showing up. Kick me out.
Yeah. Was Jason one with the scooter that time?
No, he wasn't. No, he walked. He gives a blink and he goes out there in 6 seconds faster than me. I go, come on, man.
Yeah. He looks at it from the grid, said, that's enough. I got that.
Well, I gotta give him props. He walks with me and my wife and his guys. He lets us walk along with him. And he stops and kind of gives us tips on this, that, and the other. Here's what you want to do in the backside there. He's really helped me a lot. With all the Finch guys on the East Coast, there's nobody really here to help me. And so he's been very cool to me. And the first time my wife went to Big Bear, he saw on your, I think I put it on your page that she was you had a guy that was a first timer on your,
Doug.
And I put on there something about my wife's this one, and Jason saw it and said, hey, I'm going up there on Saturday to be an instructor. I'll ask for her to be for her to be with me. He goes ahead and takes her, and most of the time you get 1 or 2 ride-alongs. He rode with her 16 times that day. The next day rode with her 8 times during competition and everything. He didn't have to do nothing, helped her along the way. He could tell that she was afraid, afraid of being embarrassed, and you're not fast. And the funny thing is, in the morning, okay, she was way slow. And then, kind of talked to her and did a couple other things. By the end of the day, there was a guy that was next to us that I think he was running 46-second laps, and he was all proud he got to 42. All of a sudden she's at 46, and then she's at 42, then she did a 40. Then me and him were talking, and he went back out. It was a lot of practice. That was nice, a lot of lap time. And he come back in, I did a 39. And then my wife came back and it dropped 2 38s in a row. I'm like, you go, girl.
See, that's all she needed was a little competition.
Right. And so Jason was very cool during that. There ain't nothing better. Somebody treating your family right, whether it be my kid or my wife. I mean, that's golden to me, and her enjoying it makes me enjoy it that much more, because at the end of the day, we ain't gonna make no money here, and we own our own business, so there's plenty of stress Monday through Friday. This is a way that we go out there, play with our toys, not tear anything up. I mean, that's the nicest thing. What's the worst that happens? I maybe break a bead off a tire or hit a cone. That's I can work in that world, replacing body parts and welding and midnight, grinding on stuff and trying to put a front clip back on something. No, thank you.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, you said it earlier. Once you're not having fun anymore, what's the point in doing it?
It wasn't, and I'm having so much fun. I mean, the gratitude of how nice people have been to us. They don't have to be, I'm not running a TCI chassis, those guys are fast and everything, but they come over. The TCI guys are over there being nice to me, helping me. And when Jason couldn't do it last time, one of his other guys, George, jumped in the truck and was with my wife and giving her a totally different set of things to think about and stuff like that. They don't have to. I mean, they're just being nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I knew he was a good guy.
To slow down a little. Help
I know. I mean, but honestly, if somebody like him's talking, I'm listening. So.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is that it's a great benchmark. And I've said this to a couple of guys that were helping me, but then next time I saw Jason, I told him, I go, you're the rabbit out there. And no disrespect. I'm not telling you you're the enemy or nothing like that, but you're the rabbit out there. This is the benchmark that I need to look at, what I'm doing. Okay. Hey, I picked up a half second on him. He's probably because he sneezed, but, what is real fast? If I'm running with mediocre people, I don't know where I'm at. I know where I'm at there, and like a Big Bear, I got within 2.5 seconds of them, and I was floating home.
Yeah,
not this last weekend.
When I went to the Camp Challenge in St. Louis and I saw what fast guys were, holy smoke!
Yeah, there's some of them out there, and they come off the first lap. As you can see in my times, I start out, middle of the pack, and then it's like every run in this last weekend, everyone was faster than the one before it. But the problem is I had a lot of track to catch up on, and you got 4 practice laps and 4 competition, and that was it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am usually. I usually pick up everyone, and then usually I'll be very close but a little slower, and then I guess that's when I figure out, well, I guess that's all I got in me. So anyway. All right, man. Well, hey, let's move on to the my random questions. These are all new.
Okay.
So
I purposely did not study because I want to make sure I give you the honest deal here.
Yeah. Actually, one of these isn't new, but it'll be an easy one. Okay. And I think I know what your answer is going to be. So if you had an opportunity to drive a professional race car, which would it be?
I would love to do one of those little road racing cars, like maybe a GT or something.
A GT car?
Yeah, and it's just, I've done oval track. I've raced at Phoenix International Raceway. I got up to 175 miles an hour, and I got to tell you, I realized that I don't have what it takes. I got off of that, and to everybody's credit, my car wasn't set up good. We were new crew. I was driving Lucas Oil's house car. It was the first time they'd ever brought a team together, and I was the driver, rookie, and the crew was all guys that ran dirt track. None of them did asphalt. And here we are at Phoenix International Raceway. And so the stack on the shocks was upside down. So it was hard on the compression and light on the rebound. So the front end is just flopping going down the straightaway. And it's funny because they came on the radio and they told me, they said, hey, Schrader and Corelli are about to come by on the outside. And I'm sitting there going, oh, look at me, I'm doing it. And all of a sudden, and I went, wow, I don't know what happened there, but they smoked me. And I went, I don't have it. So I would love to do one of those GT ones or something with some aerodynamics to where you get on a track and see how it is. I saw the other day, Justin Peachy was racing someplace on a track, something King Mountain or something like that. And they just showed him going over there, and it almost like he got lift at one point. But I went, man, that looks cool.
Yeah, that dude can drive, and he's doing some awesome stuff. I mean, I think he, added some more trophies this past weekend too. So
it's okay.
Okay.
I gotta have somebody to look up to.
He's gonna have to build a new house for all his trophies.
There you
go. I know you hadn't been autocrossing very long, but do you feel like over there in California that autocross community's kind of growing or staying the same?
I'm too new. Too new. I think the autocross community got hurt when Fontana Speedway shut down because the Racing Birds, Rob, and I think his wife's name's Trish, and I apologize if I got that wrong. They put on that. They're the ones that hooked me, and they didn't even know it. I told them that at the C10 Nationals this year. I've been showing up to their events and watching all the different stuff, and I gotta get my car done. I gotta get my car done. And when Fontana shut down, they They shut down for a year or two and then went to Vegas. And so they have, I think, 6 events. And one of them's at night and they have all the lights and everything on it. It's cool. I'm doing that next year.
Oh, yeah, that's
But,
cool.
I would say, there was 100 maybe 120 cars this last weekend at Anaheim Stadium. That's the most in, I had 15 cars, 16 cars in our Cam T, and I'd never had that before. Most of the time, 5, 7, something like that at the most. And
Yeah.
so we had a good bunch of cars. So I would say that it's good to me, but I would have no idea. I'm enjoying the hell out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you're new to it, and then I mean
My
the
wife.
your wife, the guy Doug with the Chevy truck, he's new.
Mhm.
I've actually got another guy I'm gonna have on eventually. I think he was running like a more modern Cadillac. I'm not really sure what it is,
Mhm.
one of them small deals, but he's
Mhm.
got a Nova, and I don't know. He's like, I'm building a Nova to go autocross, so that makes
All
me
you have to
proud.
do, in my opinion, all you have to do is get in and take a ride with somebody who's good, and
Mm,
you're like, I'm hooked.
yeah, yeah.
And
If you just
and
have a smidge of interest and
yeah,
you just go ride with somebody,
the one thing I regret is all those years that I kept going and watching. I just didn't, get me a little beater and get out there and get after it.
mm,
Get some traction because that's what I need is a laps. And I waited, 4 or 5 years before I did anything. And that's 5 years of track time that would have helped me a lot right now.
right. Heck, I remember it was probably 20 years ago. I was more into drag racing back then. And the
Yeah.
guy I worked with, he had, I forget what car he had, um, but he was doing autocross. And, the natural thing a drag racer would do is make fun of a guy running around a parking lot full of cones,
Cones.
you
Did you
know.
get a scratch?
And so I never even gave him a time of day. And now I look back at myself and like, why wouldn't have you just gone and checked it out? Because now I'd be, 25 years in instead
it,
of just 4.
I tell everybody when they ask, I go, it's gentleman racing. I'm 64 years old. My days of laying on the concrete floor, welding and painting things on my, I had a long-standing outline of a race car door on my fence where my buddy painted my door and it stayed there. And about the time that it was gone, he put another fender up there and painted it again. So now my wife's like, I do not want that in the front of my house. And so those days of that type of work are gone. I'm gentleman racing. I have all the tools. I mean, I got a shock dyno, I got
Mm,
spring raiders, caster camber gauges, bump steer gauges. I have the stuff. So I just, it's how I use it when, I got to get better before any of that stuff even, gets turned on. But,
mm. Last question. This is definitely a new one.
okay.
Um, who would you want to nominate to be a guest on the show?
Oh, see, there's a couple. Can I give you 3 and then you pick them?
Yeah,
Okay, right off the bat, Brian Finch.
I knew that was going to be.
Brian Finch he's the man. Okay,
Mm,
so I would say Brian Finch. The reason why is he puts on events, he builds cars. He's 9-time Baja 1000 winner in his class. I don't know exactly what the class was and all that stuff. And he's a good dude. He's a smart dude.
mm,
The next person I would say is Joe Gregory. I don't know if you know Joe or not.
mm,
Joe Gregory, when Tyler Gibson is winning the Pro Touring Truck Shootout,
mm.
Joe Gregory is 0.0001 lost by like that much on one of the things. He's good.
He's got
And,
C10.
he has a square body, yes.
Okay, square body.
And him and his dad do it, and his dad and mom, and they're just good people. And then the last thing I would say is there's another guy that I just met this last time. His name is George Reese. And
George
the
Reese.
reason I say that, he's fast. He's the only guy that I've ever seen beat Jason Wilcox. So I'm like, hey man, right there. And I heard that he raced. Well, he builds cars too,
Mm,
and then he also raced trophy trucks in Baja. I think that's what he said. So
mm.
those would be my 3. I respect all 3 of them, and I think you're going to get a great interview out of all of them.
Which George driving?
What's that?
What does George drive?
This last weekend, it was funny. He showed up with a car that looked very average. I would never have given it a time of day. And in Camp, he beat us all, including, Jason in that carbon fiber, beautiful. Have you seen that C10?
The orange one. I've seen
Yeah.
photos of it.
Oh man, I tell you what, it's a beautiful Wally's car. It is beautiful.
Mhm.
Anyway, and they were milliseconds apart. But George was the fastest time, and then his co-driver jumped in it and was second quick time. So they know what they're doing
They're
there.
doing it. All right, I'm gonna have to look them up.
Yeah,
Hopefully, I'm gonna
I
tell
could
them you
probably,
sent me.
I think I got his business card somewhere. I could probably send you his information contact
Yeah,
number. Joe Gregory is London Auto Sales.
London Auto Sales, like the city in
You have
Europe.
to write it down. It's on the podcast.
I I don't listen to myself after.
Okay. I'll text you everything I know. Okay. So,
Yeah, yeah,
but all three of those guys are just good dudes, and they know their stuff. And Finch, I mean, you can't go wrong. And and then he was also on Are You Faster Than a Redneck? So you got a little bit of TV cred going there.
yeah.
I
You know,
never watched that show. No disrespect to him, but I never watched that show. But everybody, oh yeah, I remember him from. Okay, I don't.
I seem to remember. I remember the show, and I think I might have seen a couple of them, but I don't
That guy that
honestly.
used to do the Hemi commercial, or that a
Yeah.
Hemi?
Mhm.
Yeah, that guy was on it. I know that.
Mhm.
And quite honestly, I think that's the reason why I turned it off. But
And then
knucklehead, that's all. Nothing against him, but
I know Finch does the share to ride thing at Cruising the Coast over here.
yeah,
So
he does.
I
He does a lot of C10 National.
yeah, I don't know if he actually goes to Cruising the Coast, but
Mhm.
I'll be looking for him. So
He will be cruising the coast, because that me and him were talking, and that was he had asked me when my next trip back there was. And I said that was when I was going to try to come back there, and I guess C10 Nationals in Nashville, right? And then they drive down and hit a couple autocrosses on the way, and then they do cruising the coast.
okay. Yeah, they do 3 days autocross. I usually go for a day.
Mm,
So I've seen some of his trucks up close
yeah.
at that event,
Mm.
They're pretty awesome.
They're good people. They're good people. I got to say, the nice thing is that we show up at an event, and they have like 10 trucks. We all go out to dinner together, and zero drama, lots of laughing,
Mm.
and it's a good time. That the good part of that is that you get a lot of track time when you're there doing it with them, because you're one bite after another and after that. The bad part of this, I don't have time to digest. Why did I just do that previous lap? Get in next, one out, one in. Let's do this.
Yeah, the first year I went to autocross at Cruising the Coast, man, I could have wore out a set of tires because there was hardly anybody there. I mean, I had to stop
You were
just to.
cruising the coast.
I was. I don't even cruise the coast. I autocross, and then one day I go park and hang out, but that's about it. But yeah, there wasn't many people there. I had to stop just to let the car cool down.
I never heard of it, and then they had mentioned something. And then it was like that Iron Resurrection
Mhm.
show. They mentioned it's on there, and I'm like, okay, it's on my radar.
It's pretty cool. I mean, if you feel like driving across the country.
I don't mind. Actually, I got to tell you, it's I got in my truck and drove from Texas home, and it was so good. It was just every person on the road pull up alongside me, give me the thumbs up, whatever, and I just got me a nice speed where I wasn't going to get in trouble with the police going
Mm.
across the stuff. And I-40, and off I went. And the nice thing is that all the hot rods on the road, they pull up. Nobody pulled up like, let's race. They were all like,
Yep.
nice.
Well, everybody's just cruising too,
Yeah,
right?
that Hellcat emblem in the front fenders probably gave it away.
Yeah. I mean, Cruising the Coast, I mean, I want to say they get like 10,000 cars registered for it. And then a lot of people don't register. They just come drive around.
Show up.
They show up, drive around, So
Nice.
it's neat. I mean, I would recommend it if less of the car show and actual cruising aspect of it. It's
Mhm.
more like sitting in traffic on the coast than cruising.
It's all right.
So yeah,
That's
like
my people.
I mean, they have a Mopar deal. So there's a day I did do that once. So autocross, then did the Mopar thing for a few hours. And then the last day I went, they had a little town. I just parked. Last year brought the wife, set out some lawn chairs, some cold snacks, and watched the cars drive by, and then when we were done, rolled out. So
here's the big question. Jimmy Day owns the Moparty now, right?
as far as I know, yes.
Yeah. So maybe you could talk to him, because you guys are buddies, and, and have them bring one of those out to the West Coast, or even, even Arizona or Nevada. I mean,
Yeah.
show up. I will be his first guy at the gate.
They do LS Fest West, so
LS Fest is the key word there.
mm,
No Dodges allowed.
yeah.
No love, no
Who
love, no.
knows?
No, I got to tell you, when I go to C10 Nationals, they show me love, and they were all very cool to me. But I think I was grandfathered in because Brian was there.
Mm,
But
yeah.
I show up on my own. I'm gonna be out in the parking lot.
So, all right, Charles, it's been great. I'm glad we were able to finally connect and do a show. I love the truck. I really
Thank
want
you.
to see it in person one day.
Yeah, anytime I'm heading that direction, I'll give you a yell and let you know, and we can stop and get a soda and check it out. Take it
Yeah,
for a
man.
ride.
All
Or
right.
maybe one of the C10 National. Are you maybe go to the Pro Touring Truck Shootout next year?
I need a truck.
Well, I was gonna say you got a Porsche and a is that
Uh,
in your
yeah.
Duster? So I got a question on the Duster. Are your
Yep.
rear hangers on the front? Are they? Because I built a Challenger for my dad. The rear spring hangers are they mounted against the wall and they just bolt up? The reason why I ask is because on the Challenger you can flip it over and it's automatically lowers your car down 2 inches.
So the hanger it bolts through forward,
Mm-hmm.
and I have an offset hanger to push it against the frame rail.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you like 5/8, 3/4 inch more width
Mm-hmm.
tire. Basically, it puts the spring even with the wheelhouse. So, it's not a lot, but it makes a big difference on these cars. But that hanger, I modified it to have many holes. So it's on the highest one, and the rear has sliders.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blown away at the difference the sliders made with
Sir.
lateral support. You know,
My Camaro on the asphalt was one of the first ones to come out with sliders. And I told everybody, you disconnect the shock, I can bounce my rear tires off the ground. No bind means you're in. It's beautiful. I agree.
right. But what was happening is, since the front hanger's offset, obviously the shackle needs to be offset. Well, it was shaped kind of like an S almost.
Yeah. So
Well,
you're off the frame rail.
yeah. And of course, you already got two bends in the damn thing. What's going to happen when you start turning really fast? It's going to bend more.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a 275 tire on the back, and it was actually rubbing from turning. And then I put sliders on. It was a miracle. And now I run a 295, and it doesn't touch anywhere.
Yeah.
That's how much stability it added to it.
No bind, and just I 100% swear by it. Matter of fact, my wife, I left the leaf springs on her Lightning, and that's this winter. That's my plan, is to put sliders on the rear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Peter Bergman, he's a Mopar guy. He's been on the show. He makes all kind of suspension parts, and he just released a kit that will bolt sliders in on these cars. So because I had to make mine, it was just a universal hanger, and then I made the bracket to make it bolt in and stuff. And look, not everybody's able to do fabrication stuff, so
I'm not.
Peter and I actually, yeah, we worked together, and I showed him photos of what I did, and then he developed something that's a very nice product, and now people can bolt them in.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but we'll wrap it up there.
All
Thanks
right.
again.
Thank you very much.
All right, later, everybody.